Welcome to the Mechanical Room. A Centrotherm production focusing on all things in and around the HVAC industry. And now, your hosts, Michael Sakaris and Matthew Price.
Welcome to the Mechanical Room. We are back, and we have a very special guest in-house, Mr. Kyle Hatch.
Good morning.
My co-presenter at the HVAC Tactical Awards.
That's right.
One of the, the star of the upcoming boiler build at the Eastern Energy Expo.
Yep.
One of the nicest guys in HVAC.
Thank you.
Welcome to the room, my friend.
Thank you.
How's everything? How was the ride up?
Great, phenomenal, no traffic. Dinner was great last night.
Excellent.
I'm excited to be here. Check out the factory and the floor where everything's made. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything? Is there anything in particular you were excited to? Before I kind of gave you a bit of a mini tour already, so yeah. I guess I sort of poisoned the jury a tiny bit. But as you're driving up here, as you're thinking I'm going to go to this vent factory and stuff, was there anything in particular that you were like, oh, I'm kind of interested in seeing that?
Well, that you said there's a training room.
There
or
is
something upstairs. Yeah. So I'd like to see that, and then. Acidrid? How do you say it?
Acidrid, yes.
So that new product line, I'm excited for that.
Excellent. Well, we got a couple of them rustling up for you to take with you to give it a try. So that is, of course, Acidrid is our condensate neutralizer brand that is brand new as of AHR. That was the first time it debuted, let's call it. So yeah, great. I hope it works out. Obviously, let us know your thoughts on that. So excellent. So yeah, I mean, we've been trying to get this together for a little while to get you up here. So. Is it your slow season? What made this time the most convenient for you?
Yeah, a little bit of slow season and just it's been like a year in the making, so got to prioritize it.
Indeed. We got the Eastern Energy Expo on the horizon as well, yes. Which I know you're involved with the boiler build. Can you just talk me through? Did they approach you? Who's really running that show? That sort of stuff. I mean, I know I'm pretty tight with, the EEE with Marjorie. I don't know if you know Marjorie. She runs the whole thing. She's like the top dog at that. But I don't think she's the puppeteer of the boiler build itself. So tell me who you're working with and what that's all about.
Yeah. So my contact, the opportunity came to me through Pros Reps. And Nicole is my contact there.
Okay.
So she approached me and said, hey, are you interested in this? I had actually talked to Dave Holdorf from Taco, and he's
Legend.
like, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. Who would I talk to get some of you guys involved? So that's kind of where the conversation started for me. And then I saw we have myself, Michael Flynn, Travis from TAP, and George the plumber. So it'll be my first boiler build. I got to watch the one at AHR with Tyler and everybody from the Impetus.
Sure.
Doing that with Nibco, which was really cool. But I know Flynn has done a couple of them. George, I think, was involved in AHR. So.
Yeah, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to go over there. I was in the booth with Centrotherm, obviously, but that seems like it was a very exciting time. I know Tyler definitely came by the Centrotherm booth and pilfered some of our terminations and whatnot to round it out.
Yep. That video of him walking down with the snorkels out of the backpack.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
so
great.
So good. Tyler's the man. I love that guy.
He is.
Do you know the what appliances you're going to be installing on? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know.
So so obviously Taco's involved.
Taco's involved. I really don't know who else. From what I understand, they want it. So we have 2 days to do one boiler build.
Okay.
And I think there's going to be some local tech schools. I don't know if they're high schools or colleges there, but I guess there'll be some kids. And they want it to be a more interactive event. So I believe like the planning process, the piping is going here, all the design is going to happen that day.
Oh, nice.
So that whoever's there can kind of witness that and be a part of it is what I understand now.
So will you be teaching, so to speak?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm not sure how it's going to run. So we'll have the 4 of us there, figure out, somebody will kind of probably lead it and move the team in this direction. And so.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. And obviously that's up your alley as well because you have a very deep commitment to training. Yeah. That's another logo that is on that quilt. That's actually, it's that bag right there that has has Flamey, and of course your training endeavor, or not that one. It's in the quilt is in the white bag there. I think. Don't. It's too big. Don't worry about it. Don't take it out. It's Jordan's back there being like, oh, let's throw it on here. We'd have to saying it's a big deal. But thank you for the donations, let's say. And let's talk about your training organization a little bit.
Yeah, so Tech to Tech Training Center of New England is what we call it. And it started a couple of years ago with R&W putting an addition on a building, and we decided we would make a little training center out of it. We always had this joke when we would call back and forth between techs, like somebody would call me and I would answer Tech to Tech.
Ah, beautiful.
Just kind of teasing each other.
That's amazing.
Right, but that's where, at least for me, calling the senior techs, right, or you get a call from a younger guy, that's where you get some of your best advice and training information during work. So we just had that joke back and forth, and then when
Tech to Tech, that's brilliant.
Tech to Tech.
Brilliant.
So with the addition, we decided we put a little bit of equipment in there. Ended up reaching out to yourself and some other manufacturers, and I was blown away by the support that came in for like, yeah, just here's product, put it in, and we love what you guys are doing. So
who's on there? What do you got?
We obviously have Centrotherm. We have Calefi. We have Webstone. Oh gosh, I'm going to forget some people here, but we have Fujitsu in the room. We have Viessmann. We have Noritz. We have Bosch.
Oh wow, that's an array of appliances there.
Yeah, yeah.
How
everything's live fire. We have oil boilers, gas boilers. We have an oil furnace with a power burner because where we live, and I'm sure up in this area as well, there's still a lot of fuel oil being burned. So although some people will say it's dying and going away, there's still a lot out there that needs servicing.
I mean, as you know, you're familiar with this area. There's plenty of places where gas is not accessible.
Yeah.
So our former product manager here, he lives in Averill Park. I don't know if you know that. It's so take where I live and go 20 minutes west or 20 minutes east, right? And so you're going away from Albany, let's say. And I don't believe gas fire is a possibility for him. So he's always done oil boiler to heat his house. Obviously, it gets cold in upstate New York. So yeah, I mean that's not going away anytime soon, unless there's crazy electric innovation or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean some of the manufacturers are moving there, right? Viessmann just came out with their new to our market. They have an electric boiler.
Okay. What's your opinions on those things? Do they work? Are they?
We've never done anything with them. So
do you think?
I don't really know.
What does your gut tell you? I
think it's very cool. And obviously, if they're bringing it, right, they have products that they don't bring to the States.
Sure.
And they just keep them overseas. So I would imagine if they've made the decision as a manufacturer to bring a product here, that it must be worth it to some degree.
Interesting. I mean, okay, so we here in the HVAC universe, there's a lot of pushback against electric.
Yep.
A lot of people, they know gas. I mean, you live in an area that basically the climate is essentially the same as up here. So, last couple of weeks, it's been dipping into the single digits, potentially negative.
Yep.
Does a electric boiler have the horsepower to keep your house warm? I mean, there's got to be a threshold where
I'm sure
where it's your house is maybe too large for an electric one, or maybe do you need two at that point, or how does that even work? I don't know shit about this stuff, so I'm always interested in this.
I've never done anything electric. I would say that question you'd have to talk to Eric Oni.
Okay.
Right. I mean, he's way more north than we are.
Yeah.
Way.
It's cold in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I was wearing a Mechanical Hub shirt yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
So, but he just put in the Viessmann air to water heat pump.
Okay.
And you'll hear guys talking about our area, New England, upstate New York. They're like, "Oh, that technology won't work." And I'm just thinking about Eric out in Minnesota, and I'm like, I don't know. I think his design temperature, he told me, was like -15, which where we live in Connecticut, it's a 10 above.
10 above, okay.
Is what we designed.
And that's still freezing, but 15 below it's
cold. I mean, if that technology can work out there.
It must then. It must. I mean, and let's be honest, there's nobody more professional and knowledgeable than Eric. I actually owe him a call. He's going to be, I think, the next guest on this podcast. Cool. So, I mean, I will actually. I'll make a note to ask him about that, and I'll circle back with you. Let you know what he says, because I mean, he's also Mr. Viessmann too.
Yep.
So he will know about that sort of stuff. And in Minnesota, it gets pretty frosty in Minnesota.
Sure
so, I mean, I've seen some of his videos where he's got, frost and all kinds of ice and stuff that he's dealing with. So, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and that is, whether we like it or not, sort of an inevitable march. Obviously, burning fossil fuels, whether you want to admit this or not, it's not great for the environment. And electricity is a lot more sustainable, replenishable can we support it on the grid is a different type of question altogether. So, but obviously, the march of time goes, and as you said, in Europe, electronic technology like that is significantly more prominent.
Yeah.
I guess where does it get really, really cold? I wonder what they're doing in like Norway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in Spain, it doesn't get that cold in Spain. Ireland, your 10-degree temperature in Ireland is going to be, I think, lower than their bottom threshold, let's say. But I mean, up in
Well, what about
Oslo or
guys in Canada?
Yeah, that's another. Oh, that's a whole other thing, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, do you follow? So as a man of the industry, are you following stuff like what has recently occurred in British Columbia, where they were voting for electrification, and I believe it was delayed a little bit? Do you follow that closely?
Like the politics of the trade?
Yeah, kind of.
Really.
No,
I probably should pay closer attention to it because I'm sure it's going to start moving towards our area eventually. But,
well, and we're here in New York and Connecticut, typically considered a little bit more, let's call it progressive. So I mean, I think there'd probably be greater pushback in other states with a little bit less progressive agenda, let's say, for better, for worse, and obviously no political judgment one way or the other here. But I mean, Connecticut, New York. Massachusetts,
right? They're usually the first to jump on things on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Well, at least in New England area.
Indeed.
To try things out, right? Because how long ago was it they came out and said no PVC venting?
Yeah, I mean, that was a couple years back, like 2019, 2020, so it's been a few years. And honestly, we were thinking that it would be a bit of a domino effect. We thought that Connecticut would follow quickly.
We did too.
So and it's still in discussion in various places. The codes are a crazy world. We actually have a full-time employee who is devoted to understanding, helping to explain the codes. He travels around and he gives presentations. That are about like ASPE, ASPE credentialed presentations that are like not branded, that are purely about safe venting practices and stuff. And I mean, luckily, when you talk about safe venting practices, obviously, like better quality listed items become the sort of the go-to. So, full disclosure, when you talk about safe venting, it is pretty self-serving for us, let's say, as the listed, alternative to PVC. But I mean, we try to stay on top of that stuff as much as we can, but it is difficult. 50 states. Some places do it by county. Some places do it by fiat. Some places don't know what the hell they're doing at all. I mean, you go from one township to the next. The inspectors don't talk to each other some places. So we can have full UL 1738 enforcement, and then you could like drive over a bridge, and then it's the Wild West again. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with, like, say, inspectors?
We have a fairly good relationship with our local inspectors. It depends. Like you said, inspector to inspector, even within the same town, can have different requirements, which is frustrating, right? It's like,
you ever like,
how come everybody can't be on the same page?
Ah, crap, we got Johnson coming in today. This guy's a real pain in the ass. Yep. Is that real? That's a real thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some guy. So we'll have.
You can name names if you want.
I couldn't even tell you. But we had before we could get some of the Centrotherm hangers with the green on.
Okay, sure.
Hangers. We were using J hooks, just PVC J hooks.
Yeah. Like, not supposed to do that.
This is what we had. And,
yeah.
So we'd have inspectors coming through, and they would say no problem at all.
Yep.
Then we'd have inspectors come through, fail the job. So it depends.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. I mean, it shows that their knowledge of the stuff is going to be secondary to yours for sure. And obviously, I introduced you to Kara, some of the tech support guys out there, Banga and Dylan, like they know our installation manual backwards and forwards. And so they would be like, yeah, no J hooks, it's got to be clamshell, it's got to be so many meters apart, all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of nutty to me that someone might be in that role and have not a clue about how to keep, I guess, I don't want to say their constituents, but whoever, they got to keep those people, they're tasked with making it safe.
And how, so there's lots of training out there. Maybe there's code training that I'm just unaware of, but there's manufacturer training.
Sure.
Right? You could go to the supply house and Centrotherm is in there for the day. They do a counter day, or they're putting on a training.
Yeah, we do it everywhere across North America, pretty much every day, somewhere.
But I've never seen hosted at a supply house or some of the trade organizations where an inspector comes in or the state inspector comes in to teach contractors about the code changes.
Interesting.
You
Do
know?
you
So
think
really,
would that be a
supposed to learn it?
would that be a worthwhile thing? Do
I
you think
so.
people?
We've tried to. So I'm a part of OESP, which is Oil Energy Service
Sure.
Providers.
They work with EEE, of course,
Yes,
right? So
yeah, exactly. So we've tried to have the state inspector come to our local chapter a couple of times, and for whatever reason, maybe scheduling conflicts.
got to make sure that he knows that there will be lunch there.
Well, it's dinner, but still.
Okay, dinner.
You got to imagine, right? You got a room full of, I don't know, sometimes we have 20 contractors in the room.
Sure.
And it's not necessarily the place the inspector wants to walk into
Yeah.
after everybody's had a few beers. But
Do you think there would be value for so we deal with codes all the time, of course,
Sure.
right? And you know you obviously as a knowledgeable and professional organization, the R&W overall, and you personally, of course. So you use the good venting, let's say, you use the listed stuff that you know is going to perform at the high efficiency level that you need to and stuff. For other folks, do you think it would be? Should we try to partner with inspectors to do like a conjoined training? Is that something that would other contractors be even interested in something like that?
I don't know. I don't know if I could speak for other contractors, but I know for our company, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So
We can't
at
use you.
Tech,
You guys are too professional. We really can't use you as the meter stick, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you already have a side note training agenda, so you're kind of like a cut above the average guys out
maybe
there.
a little biased, but
Oh, I mean, well, I'm personally biased towards you as well. So I mean, but I know the work that you guys do, and having gotten to know you over the last couple of years, I know the integrity that your company, has, and what you're trying to do, even for the industry itself, right? That's why you get featured in the Tactical Magazine and other things like that, right? Because it's the same sort of mentality to that Ben and likes to highlight and all that sort of stuff, and well deserved, right? So certainly a cut above.
thank you.
You're quite welcome. Earned it. Well earned. Well deserved. And certainly richly evidenced. You know what I mean? With all the things that you do, right? So I wonder if that is something that the average guy doesn't care about, is not that interested in. I mean, you're a business owner, so you're
Not quite yet.
well,
Yeah.
it's
Close enough, I
it's
guess,
in there.
family,
You're
yeah.
it's in the lineage, and
Sure.
it's I mean, you are representing it.
Yes.
So compared to the average guy who maybe just is hired on, or somebody who doesn't have the passion, I wonder if how much they actually think about this type of stuff. You're clearly thinking about it a lot. And so how, back to the tech stuff. How often is that? I mean, is there somebody in there every day, or what's the class schedule looking like, or how does somebody get involved with that?
Yeah, so we have an Instagram page. I don't have like a class schedule posted or anything like that. And when it was originally built for R&W, and then once it got to the point where we had so much time, effort, money, contributions put into it, it was like when we have FIA come in and do our Centrotherm training, it's like, why have 4 guys or 5 guys in the class when we could offer it to outside contractors, right? We already kind of talked to some of our local competitors, right?
Yeah.
Community over competition.
Absolutely.
So if we could offer it to them, now maybe they stop installing PVC, they start installing the proper product, and what's the big deal? Now when that customer calls us and calls them, their price is no longer cheaper than ours because now they're using better products, which means their price has to go up because they're right providing more value. Whatever, maybe they don't, but it just what's the saying? A rising tide raises all ships.
Raises all the boats. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean that is a beautiful sentiment, really, honestly, to welcome in the would-be competitors locally. I mean, what does that do? It just improves the community overall. And I'm not even talking about the trades. I'm even talking about your local community, right? That means that somebody, I hate to go really dramatic, but somebody's not going to die of carbon monoxide poisoning as a result of that training. And that, maybe that person that doesn't die, I presume has friends and loved ones that don't want to see them die. So it's probably a net positive overall.
Yep.
Oh my God! All right, so actually, let's talk about R&W a little further.
Okay.
What does R&W stand for?
R&W stands for Rick and Wanda.
Rick and
my parents.
Rick and Wanda.
Rick and Wanda.
Oh my God, that's amazing. That's awesome. And let's talk about Flamey.
So Flamey, yep, go ahead.
Who's the artist behind Flamey, and what's the history? I want a full biography of Flamey.
The artist behind Flamey is Clip Art.
Clip art, okay, wonderful.
So my father is a big Christmas guy.
Big Christmas guy.
And when he was, so R&W started in 2004.
With jolly old Saint Nicholas.
A jolly old St. Nicholas. That's right. Out of their basement. And so I graduated high school in 06. So when we'd come home from school, we would have work to do, right? So they did a lot of mailers and everything was...
So you were helping out the family business,
Yep.
stuffing envelopes.
Stuffing envelopes,
And, yeah.
putting address labels on there, right, the whole nine.
Sure.
My mom would have piles set up, so I'd grab a pile, my sister would grab a pile, and we'd just do that for whatever length of time we needed to do.
Sure, sure. That was actually, so I don't want to interrupt you because I want to come back to that, but that was a punitive, so my dad ran his own business as well, and that was a punishment for us.
We felt it was a punishment.
Yeah, so the little 30, like the Avery laser labels that come in like the 10 rows, whatever, we were punished, but the severity of the crime led to the quantity of labels that we had to type, right? So if you did something real bad, you need to do like 10 sheets of them, right? If you did, something not so bad, it was like maybe 1 sheet or 2 sheets and whatnot. Typing out address labels that then went on those mailers and stuff was a punitive part of my childhood.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's crazy.
Go on.
Right? So it was a peel and stick for us. We weren't allowed to do the typing.
Okay. Well, we had, there was like a business, my dad would subscribe to some thing that, so it was health insurance. Everybody has a boiler. Everybody kind of needs health insurance, right? So it was like everybody. So yeah, there was like he would get some list, a business review or something like that, and it was just like literally, and man, it's so funny because it dates you. I don't think you'd have to do this anymore because you just get it online. But like, take from the printed copy and type it into the computer so that you can print it out, and then that was it. And then it was like, okay, my penance is complete. Here are 4 sheets of labels. I'm sorry that you caught me doing whatever it is you caught me doing.
Yep, very similar. Last couple of years of high school, and so, but yeah, so because of his love for Christmas, he wanted to do something like the Heat Miser and the Cold Miser.
Amazing.
And this was his
version of that.
Version of the Heat Miser.
Excellent. So
at that time, we didn't do any air conditioning. The company, when they started the company, was R&W Heating.
Gotcha.
Now, I don't know what year it was, but we changed to R&W Heating Energy Solutions.
Okay.
So there was a big kind of shift in the industry. I'm gonna guess probably 12 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
Somewhere around 2012 or 13. One of our local utilities was providing really good incentives for oil to gas conversions.
Okay.
So we started taking out oil, putting in gas boilers. We were installing Wiesmann, and right from the start, we may have installed like 1 or 2 boilers with PVC, but my father's always been very, I don't want to say pushy, but forward thinking, and like looking for something better, something new. So we found Centrotherm very early on. I don't know how or why.
Well,
right? So I started in 07.
Probably through Wiesmann, honestly.
You're right. It probably was, because I think Wiesmann never did allow anything but poly.
Wiesmann has been a good partner of ours over the years. That's how Eric County is familiar with Centrotherm, because he RTFMs or whatever. R's the FM, whatever,
Yeah, RTFM.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm trying to fit it into a sentence. He R's the TFM. And we've been in the Wiesmann manual for many, many years. So
and they even provide the separate venting manual.
Yes.
So
that must have been what it
was.
was. That must have been what it was.
But right around that time, there was like this shift of, we didn't want to be called just a heating company, because we were offering more than just heating. It wasn't just coming to work on your oil burner anymore. So name change to R&W Heating Energy Solutions.
Do you have a preference? Like, if you got a slate of work down there, would you rather put a boiler in? Would you rather go service an AC? Would you rather? We were talking a little bit about you put in some HRVs and ERVs over the years. Yep. Is there something you still get excited about, or is is it generally everything because you're enthusiastic about this type of stuff?
A few things I don't like is sheet metal and ductwork.
Okay.
Maybe because I'm no good at it. Never took the time to really learn it and prioritize it. But
So,
I don't
so the
enjoy
kind of stuff that Jeff is doing.
Yeah, I can't do that. And to
I've
be
said it
honest,
a million
I have
times.
no interest in learning.
I've said it a million times on this podcast, so I have no idea how to do that stuff either. Those are my favorite videos that exist
awesome.
in the HVAC space when people like Jeff are creating those geometric shapes, bending it into place, and then when it's all said and done, it's like this magical like air handling unit. Oh my God!
It's like origami with metal.
Completely. Yep. It's exactly like it's not even like origami. It's HVAC origami, and you should probably like copyright that, or something
Instagram
like.
Page.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I whenever those so I introduced you to Dylan, and I said Dylan used to be an installer, and that's the kind of stuff that he was working on. And so whenever those videos pop up, I send them right to Dylan because it's just like, I mean, just marvel at it. And is there anybody better than Jeff at that?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, and also like the sweetest guy on the planet too. So, but yeah, those are some of my favorites. So, okay, so you don't like doing those.
Sheet metal and steam installs. I don't know. I don't like running the pipe threader. It's not like the end of the world, but if I got to choose, I would be doing ductless installs or I guess probably boiler installs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, all right. So another tool question is: do you solder or are you a press guy? Or do you both?
We do a little bit of both. Recently, we switched over to press.
So if you do a little bit of both, what's the decider? How do you say this one I'm going to solder or this one I'm going to press?
So now we're almost 100% press.
You are, okay.
But we just made that change like a year ago. And so everybody still carries torches. Everybody still carries solder fittings, that kind of thing.
Is there a reason why press might not work and you have to then revert to the soldering?
I'm sure there is. But
okay. So
I think it's probably more like just a anxiety thing. Like if I take it off the truck, I'm going to need it, and I'm not going to have it.
Okay, I believe that.
Now there may be some guys out there that have been running press for 10 years, and they're like,
I don't need this anymore.
I don't need it. I have not run into a situation where I've had to have my torch, but it's still new for us.
And that's that I think. I mean, so again, I don't know anything about this stuff. I've done one press in my whole life, and it was at the Vega booth with Tyler over my shoulder and a bunch of people filming it at AHR because it's like some, I mean, like I say, I'm a jazz piano player. I don't know nothing about this stuff. I can barely turn a screwdriver. So it was very comical to watch this clown man, like, I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I mean, there's still a bit of an argument. And you hear people, I mean, especially like, let's say in the comments, right? Never read the comments, but I always read the comments because I love to see the shit slinging and people making fun of each other. Or I'm a big fan of like, you're a moron and this is the reason, that kind of stuff is highly entertaining to me, especially when I don't even really understand what they're talking about. But there is a fight between press and solder to this day. And clearly you've made a transition. Is it just the old-fashioned mentality? Why do you think the solder guys are out there still, fighting what seems to be a kind of fading technology?
So for us, we've had press guns and press on the trucks for years.
When did
six
press?
Or 7 trucks. Everybody has a tool.
Press is how old?
Oh my goodness, I couldn't even tell you. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 20 years old.
Really? Is it okay?
I don't know.
That's older than I would expect. That's older than I would have thought.
Yeah. If it's not 20 years old, it's got to be really close.
Okay, interesting. And just with the Centrotherm and Viessmann, you guys were early adopters of that?
For the press, yeah, we've had press guns for over 10 years. Which it's like, well, if you've had them just sitting on the truck, why aren't you buying the fittings and just putting them in, right?
Yeah.
And the argument is, well, if you're going to press over solder, you get the job done faster. But if you're doing a whole day install and you have a crew on the job for, say, 8 hours to do their boiler and they finish at 7, they don't go do another service call or maintenance, right? So you don't have enough time saved on that job to go make more money.
Right. So take your time, do it right.
Spend more time on the job.
Interesting.
So, yeah, but it's nice now. You don't have to worry about leaks. Sometimes after you do a boiler, you may not have a leak show up until the system gets hot.
Sure.
And by that time, you're probably packed up. And,
of course.
You're ready to go, and then all of a sudden you spring a hot leak. So, some guys will say you need to learn to solder. But it still happens.
Can you solder onto a press fitting?
We have tried that. It makes a mess because
well-
of that O-ring burning.
Oh,
if you took the
yeah,
O-ring out,
yeah.
if you took the O-ring out, I'm sure you could clean it and solder to it. But
Interesting. I'm always fascinated by this stuff because again, I've done one. I made a Vega bottle opener, like you know those things that
Yeah,
they make. Yeah,
yep.
that's the extent of my pressing technology experience. Is I made a novelty bottle opener at the Vega booth in front
under
of like
fantastic direction.
yes, under fantastic the press master,
Yep.
and I believe Travis was there as well. Who he's been on the podcast as well, and I made a bit of a faux pas. I thought press master. Sort of like was sort of like Miss America, right? Where we passed the crown to the next guy, and he was like, Matthew, I am still a press master. I was like, oh, I'm saying, okay, one press master for life. I apologize, all due respect.
Once you're crowned, you're crowned.
Exactly. He's in the club. It's like he won the Masters. He put the green jacket on instead. It's the yellow jacket from Vega,
Yep.
and he remains in the the pantheon of press masters, of which there's a handful of them. Yes, exactly. So I mean, Matt from All Star Plumbing is one of those guys. Press master. Tyler is also another one, and Travis. And I must be missing them. I mean, I'm sure that they've done it. I don't know how many years they've done it, but certainly those three guys are I guess press masters for life.
Yeah.
So something to aspire to for you.
guess.
Is Vega a product that you use?
We do use some Vega. Yep, we use a lot of Webstone on our boilers, valves, and
What's
their
the
press fittings.
So I mean, again, I say this all the time. It's a broken record. I don't know shit about this stuff. So, when you are evaluating Vega versus Webstone, which are their competitors, I would look at it and be like, these are the same. How do you just like more experience with Nipco, more experience with Webstone, and you lean that way as a result of your long-standing tradition of using them? Or is it what's on the shelf, essentially?
It's, I think, a little bit of all of that, right? So it's what does the supply house have in stock plays a big role in it. Some supply houses don't carry Vega.
Okay.
Some don't. Some only carry Vega. Some only carry Webstone. Some don't, right? Some have their own brand, like FW Web has the Pure Pro line, and they don't.
Who makes that? They obviously
Web.
don't. Well,
I don't know if
they're
they make it, but
they're
it's-
private labeling that, so
yeah,
I'm
but
curious
it's
who.
their, yeah, so I guess that's how you would say it. It's their private label.
I'm curious.
Press fittings.
I'm curious who
So-
makes that. It might be Vega. It might be
could
Nipco.
be.
I
But
wonder.
when you go, right, it's in a Pure Pro bag.
Yeah.
So I think what's on the shelf plays a role in it. For us,
Jordan, Google that, will you?
Yes.
So, what is it called? Pure Pro?
Pure Pro. Yep.
I'm curious. So ask, who is the original manufacturer of FW Web Pure Pro press fittings? That's where I'm curious.
They have a whole product line. They have neutralizers. They have, they have hydraulic separators that I think they look very similar to Kalefi.
Okay,
They're
sure.
They're blue. They're like the color of the wall.
Okay.
So yeah, they have tons of stuff. Under
fascinating.
That product, under that.
Manufacturer is Pure Pro USA Corporation.
Yeah, I mean that's the manufacturing element of the FW Web Corporation. I'm guessing, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Like Sid Harvey has Mitco.
Mitco. Okay, interesting.
I think that's the same or very similar to Pure Pro.
Exclusive. Yeah, FW Web's exclusive brand designed by contractors for contractors.
Interesting.
They sell boilers under that label.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, that's huge. I mean, that's I don't know if that's vertical or integration. One-stop shop, right? I mean, Web is obviously no fools. They are growing like an insane. They're taking over. Used to be. So I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
I'm technically a Yankee fan, if you will. So for a long time, I was like, Webb, this Red Sox supporting assholes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Grows out of New England. Now Webb advertises with the Yankees too, and it's in New York, and it's going west there. I want to say Webb goes as far as out to at least Pennsylvania, possibly even Ohio at this point. I could be wrong about that, but I know that they are creeping, right? Is Webb a source for you? Or?
Yeah, they are. We use Web. We use Wind Supply. But back to what you were asking about, how do you kind of pick a product? I think the support and the people behind the product is sometimes more important than the product itself. Because really, I can't think of a product out there that's a bad product.
Okay.
So, like, if you're going to say some guys like US Boiler over Viessmann.
Sure.
We've been Viessmann since, like I said, 2011 or 12. We still have the same rep.
Amazing. The same sales guys.
Same,
Like,
right? It's like this core group of guys,
Yeah.
and no different than having a relationship with Centrotherm and you.
Yeah.
When you get to know the people, right? It's kind of the same reason customers buy from contractors. I think they're
No
not
question.
necessarily buying your product; they're buying from the salesman that's there.
The trusted guy, the guy, answers the phone.
Yep.
People don't understand how valuable just answering the phone is sometimes, and just replying to the email in a timely and efficient way. That's why listen, anybody out there watching this knows that if you message the Centrotherm Instagram, you get a message back really quickly. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I look at it, and I will most likely say, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll find out for you. That's mostly what happens.
But there's some manufacturers you could message and
For sure.
you get the automated response, right? We're guilty of that with our company. And
Well,
we send the automated response.
That's
but
not.
we don't want to schedule.
I wouldn't say
through that, right? That's
guilty.
A little different.
That's it's a useful tool.
Sure.
It just can't be the only response that you get.
Yes. Yep. So I think that the people behind the product, at least for us, helps decide the product more sometimes.
That's great to hear. And we do strive to be a really responsive service company here. We certainly understand that if, I always make this analogy, if the mechanical room was like a human body, and you're putting in a V-Smin, that's the heart. Maybe your Techmar stuff is the brains, perhaps. The venting is at best like the fingernails.
Oh.
I was gonna say the fingernails.
Okay.
It's very much on the periphery. It's very much. Since we're exhausted,
But it's still important.
It's incredibly important.
It's still
What?
important.
Honestly, what we should probably the analogy I should probably make is it's like the rectum. Because all the waste goes through it, right? Which let's just say, hey, if your rectum is not working properly, you got problems.
Yeah.
So
New stickers.
Exactly.
Change out the intake and exhaust.
You make that mistake, you have a real problem, right? So as a result of not being the heart, let's say, what we're technically called is an accessory line, right? We're not the appliance, we're an accessory to the appliance. And as a result, we better be answering that phone. We better be answering those emails, because if we, what's stopping that next person to saying, you know what, I know how to prime and glue PVC, and it's on the shelf at Lowe's. And it's dirt cheap. It may not be the right thing, but it's the easy thing.
Sure. And I don't know what the other product is, but there's another 1738 is the UL.
So IPEX makes a 1730, a system 1738 they call it. It's a similar glued, male coupler system, which I believe they achieve their. So like the UL 1738 stuff, we achieve it with our plastic blend.
Yep.
I believe they
That's
have an
the standard. That's the UL standard.
Correct.
1738.
Correct.
Okay.
So their stuff, I believe, has a like a flame retardant spray on it.
Okay. And I've heard, I've had guys message me, why are you using, how come you don't check this stuff out, right? How come you don't use this? Because when you use Centrotherm, depending on the lengths that you buy, you may have more cutoff and weight
Sure.
than with that product. But I don't know anybody from there. I've never seen anybody at a supply house. I've never really seen them on Instagram. Now, maybe I'm in my own little bubble in my world of southeastern Connecticut.
Sure.
And on Instagram, but I've never seen or heard from anybody. So why would I switch to them? I'm not going to go hunt them down. Now, if it was a mind-blowing product,
Yeah.
But when you already have an established relationship, it's
Very long-standing as well.
right.
So.
It's going to take more than just a DM from somebody. Hey, check this out.
Sure.
And I see the benefits, right? Maybe it costs a little bit less. Maybe they have less waste. I don't, but
Everything,
it doesn't outweigh
everything has
the rest
pluses
of it.
and minuses, more or less. So yeah, it is. If that's the critical thing that makes your decision, then hey, they'd be well advised to I don't know, poke their head up, say hello in some capacity. I hope they don't, but understood. I think that's what makes us strong.
I think manufacturers underestimate the power of social media and like a personal connection with
Totally.
people.
Oh, obviously I'm a believer. You see my stupid face saying all kinds of ridiculous stuff. I was on vacation last week,
Yeah.
and we were voting and all that sort of stuff. I think we don't find out till next week. So
I wanna know.
yeah, me too. I'm dying to know. I voted. I told you I was on the plane when I was talking to you. I had 2 hours of time. Well, I literally watched The Godfather Part 2 on the Delta in-screen thing, right?
Yep.
And I sat there refreshing and voting for like 2 hours until it was like voting has closed. And I was like, I could have got a few more in, I guess. Dang, oh well.
Yeah, I got a handful in there. We were evacuating a Fujitsu, and I'm like, well, I got a few minutes. So while it's on an evacuation, I was just refreshing and voting.
I
So
appreciate
we'll
that.
see.
Jordan's going to go over to the event. I believe it is announced. Just to give full disclosure, what people what we're talking about here is there was a contest in the Capital District for I want to say elementary school age kids. Those kids are about elementary school age, right? Yeah. They're pretty young. Yeah. So we had a particular school come here, and other schools went to other manufacturing facilities, and they asked some questions. I talked to them about sort of our sales process. I know that they talked to JJ, our production manager, and I know they talked to TJ, our director of operations, and a few other folks. I think they talked to the safety guys as well. And at the end of it, they filmed it all and they put together a little video. And then there was a competition. The website, I believe, was what's so cool about manufacturing.com. Ah! Oh my goodness, that's a great blooper. That's going to make a great short, Jordan. Sorry, Erasmus.
Get him back here.
All right, we're back. That's going to make a good short. And then of course I went up on the website and then voted, and then the Proctors, which is, do you know Proctors? It's a performing arts space in Schenectady, is hosting the awards show, and we will find out, I believe, who is the winner, who has been crowned Miss America of local HVAC manufacturing or whatever it is.
Sure. I don't know any of the other manufacturers on there, but I think they're going to have a hard time keeping up with the Centrotherm.
The juggernaut of our social media. Yeah, we'll see. I honestly, I didn't know what they are either. We're, I believe, the only one that was in the HVAC space.
Gotcha.
One makes.
But do you think there's another manufacturer? Can you think of another manufacturer that's doing what you're doing on social media? In our space or outside of it?
This will. Well, I appreciate that. This will sound immodest, but I think that we do it in the most fun and authentic way. Mm-hmm. I try to be unapologetic about who we are. I try to showcase the humans that are around here, share fun stuff. It's it's low key, low pressure. It's not like certain manufacturers, the only thing they're doing is like sales pitch stuff, which, I mean, we're conditioned in this day and age to reject commercials, skip ads. I mean, if your whole thing is just ads, you're just gonna scroll right through it. Like, who wants to see that stuff? I'm personally more interested in goofy stuff that happens at the office, or weird quirks and tips and tricks and stuff. And honestly, we've been very lucky because we've become friends with people like you, people like my buddy over here. Oh my God, I need to lint roll this before I get on the screen here. People like Colin Sadler at the amazing John Sadler Plumbing and Heating, who are professional installers, who post all their great stuff using the best quality products. So they're out there putting in Navians and using our stuff, and so I don't need to do commercials. We have professional installers who are putting this stuff in that produce the corporate-y, third-party, user-generated content for us, right? Which is just amazing, which allows me to focus on goofy stuff, introduce human beings around here, celebrate birthdays, dance around in the swag, whatever it is, right? We're going to Ish next week, right? So there will be, we're not exhibiting at Ish. I imagine some of the folks that we're going with might be wearing some Centrotherm swag and stuff like that. I will be, right? Mm-hmm. So some of the branding gets naturally be in these photos, but I'm going to be focusing on the people that we're going with and the good time that they're having at the trade show and all that. That will be, hopefully people can live vicariously through the experiences of our Alberta reps, Pro West Sales, who won the training trip, and their guest, Mr. Ryland Schaefer, and I'm not sure who the other guy. I forget the other guy's name that they're bringing with them. So, but I'm gonna be doing my best to capture their the wide-eyed interest that they have in what is the most insane trade show that exists.
Is it their first time going?
I believe it will be their first time going. It'll be my second time going, and it is 10 times as big as AHR.
It's hard to believe.
It's crazy.
It's hard to believe.
It's like
under one roof.
It's under several roofs,
Okay.
but it's all in like one complex. So there is something you can get lost so easily, and it's grouped in crazy ways too. It's like here's the hydronic section. There's like a plumbing fixture section, but and then when you go in there, and then like I don't know, I guess maybe it was Toto. They had their booth was as big as this entire sales floor, and they got fountains and water stuff spouting everywhere and lights and all. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it makes AHR look like a counter day. Honestly, it's like 9 floors of AHR.
Yeah,
it's wild. It's so much so that you cannot possibly see it all. And so AHR is 10 to 6 on a Monday, 10 to 6 on a Tuesday, 10 to 4 on a Wednesday. I want to say that ish is like 7 days long.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
And you'd need all 7 to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're stopping and talking at booths, I imagine you need all 7 days. But
Well, I mean, so if you're only doing hydronics, then maybe you don't need to go to the circuit area or whatever. You know what I mean? You pick and choose your spots. I mean, we're going to just wander and take in as much as we can. I mean, but we've only allocated 2 days. We're not staying there for 7 days. We're going to see what we can see. It's going to be crazy. I mean, you'll see the photos that I'm posting in the videos. I mean, last time I was there, I mean, all of that, these people make, their booths are crazy. They all have like interactive stuff. As I was telling you last night, everybody's got a coffee machine, I mean, that's a hospitality thing, but like games, interactive stuff, the swag here and there. Not, that's thankfully dying down. But I mean, I'll there's a great video of me doing like tic-tac-toe in the Xylem booth or something like that. I mean, just it's an experience for sure. So
you think the boiler build will make its way to Germany?
They might even be doing something like that.
Yeah.
They might. I mean, Wiesmann will definitely have a monster booth. That's the booth that was the biggest one by far that I remember.
Oh, it makes sense.
In Germany, which is their home. I mean, I want to say the factory is only like a couple of kilometers, to use the European parlance. Yeah, I think it's only a few kilometers from where it is. So that's home base.
Yeah.
So you got to show out if it's home.
Absolutely.
And I mean, the Wiesmann booth was. I mean, they probably had like 60 people working it. And then I mean, it was bedlam. I mean, they had their own. I think they had their own. Like badges, like you could go into the Wiesmann booth and get a Wiesmann badge that had some kind of QR thing to it, and then if you follow it, you could sign up for some kind of alerts or something. I forget, but like I mean, it was like so much so that it was like Wiesmann had a mini trade show of its own, which is just bananas. I mean, the biggest booth. So did you see like let's say the Navian booth at AHR this year?
Was huge.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even want to know what they spent on that. I mean, they got the attention that they're looking for. The big LEDs that they had. I mean, the thing was huge. So the Wiesmann thing was like 4 times that big. It wasn't nearly as interactive,
wild.
if I can remember, if memory serves, but they had like tons of product and, I mean, it was crazy. So, all right, let's sidestep. We've been going at this for a while now. I want to hear a little bit more just about, what you do when you're not turning wrenches. I know that you're a new dad for a second time now, so you're a family man and you're obviously got the training agenda. So like some of your time is given right back to the trades. But like when you're not doing that type of stuff, what music you're listening to, where you take the family on vacation, like what is your wife getting up to, keeping you in line, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she's trying. That's a full-time job to be my chaperone. But it may not appear while I'm here, but yeah. We have a lot of fun. So 2 boys, one's 6 months old. The 6-year-old's in 1st grade. He'll be starting baseball coming up soon.
Oh, that's fun.
Just signed him up last night.
Fantastic. What a great age that is.
Yep. So last year I coached T-ball. That was my first time. Right?
Awesome.
So league needed some help. And
Were you a baseball player?
I played baseball, up to high school, and then I stopped.
Okay.
I wasn't very good. My baseball skills, I would say, are about as good as my duck skills. So, sheet metal skills. But, I mean, I can make it around the bases.
Fair enough.
So, coach T-ball. This year I'll assistant coach, coach pitch. So, just to...
Oh, so you got to pitch to the kids this time. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
You got to go to practice anyway.
Yeah.
So, they need help. Might as well help
Sure.
them.
That's awesome. I mean, he must be excited.
He is. Yep. And we have the R&W team.
Oh,
we sponsor a local
awesome! So
team.
Flamey's on the hats.
No, but we have the just the name on the jersey.
Okay,
Yeah,
well.
the town doesn't get that crazy.
All right, well,
I wish we had them on there. But
I
we bring shirts and we do like pizza and stuff like that for the team.
amazing.
So, yeah, a small scale. What you do for the trades is right. So the swag, all the kind of cool
Sure.
stuff Centrotherm does.
Yeah.
For everybody, we try to do that.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's I used to play for. I'll never forget the sponsors that played for. That I played for. Globe Fence was a. I can, if I close my eyes, I see the green hat that said Globe Fence that I played probably when I was the same age as your son is now.
Yep.
Right around first grade, right around actual first pitching times. So yeah, I mean that's something that they'll always remember. I mean, I assume he's got some buddies that are playing and whatnot. So
kids from school
it's a fun like social event. Also, it's like good exercise. I mean, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And what's it like with the infant these days?
Good. Well, I mean, last night I had a great night's sleep.
The Fairfield of his
How'd you
Green
sleep?
Bush.
And I'm like, I was all right. Like I can't tell her while she's at home up at 1 a.m. with the baby. But,
Oh, that's funny.
so
She's gonna see this though. So
no, she won't. She won't watch this. She's so tired of Instagram and HVAC. She works in the office, so
Yeah,
she's like,
fair
she
enough.
can't get away from it.
fair enough.
Like, hey, you want to watch the episode? Me? She's like, I'm going to bed. Put that away.
That's amazing. How long have you been married?
We have been married since 2016.
Oh, excellent. That is the same as me. That's when I got married as well. So excellent. How long have you been together?
Been together. We've been since 2012.
Amazing. Congratulations. That's fantastic. That's almost the exact same timeline as me and my wife.
Yep.
So that's
We actually went to college together, met there, and didn't like hit it off in college. We just were at the school at the same time. She was very mean to me in college.
hopefully she's softened up over the years.
Not very much. But yeah, after school, reconnected and
Good.
yeah.
Excellent. What school was
Rest
that?
is history. Universal Technical Institute in Norwood, Mass. It was an auto mechanics school.
Okay, so she's on the wrenches too a little bit.
Yep,
Oh,
car
that's
girl.
really. Is that something she spends her time with still? She's like momming it these days so much so she doesn't really
Yep.
get. She doesn't
Mom in it works in our office. So yeah, she's kind of gone from auto mechanics to HVAC.
Fascinating. It's too bad Brian is not here. He's our product manager. I'd make him pull out his phone. That guy is the most into cars that I've ever met, and he builds from scratch all kinds of stuff. I mean, classic stuff, but also new, and he's working on stuff. I mean, he talks about the things that he's doing with the welding and fabricating parts and stuff, and I mean, you would understand a lot greater depth than I do.
Yep.
But I mean, he's passionate about it, and obviously like super talented with it too. So yeah, it's too bad he's not here. I'm gonna have him send you some photos and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd like
He's
to see
doing
that.
some
It's
really
cool.
really intense stuff. So all right, coaching baseball.
Yep.
Obviously sleeping early and getting up to feed the kid and stuff like that. What else is going on? What music do you like to listen to? What's your favorite movie?
Oh man, favorite movie probably have to be Step Brothers.
Okay, a classic.
Classic.
Yeah.
And lately we've been just kind of watching like Netflix, Prime stuff, Yellowstone.
Okay.
That kind of movie show.
All right. Yeah, there's a
country
lot of
music,
Yellowstone.
Hip hop, 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
Still,
Excellent. Awesome. Well, we've taken up a lot of time, and if people make it to the end here, we're good job on you for running that marathon because we really covered a lot of stuff here. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on, so it's I'm super grateful that you took the time to come up and visit with us here, and we'll sign off here. And we'll maybe continue on the tour. We're gonna take some more photos of you out there, and amid the extrusion line and our thermal forming devices and whatnot, and see what the whole how the sausage is made here. Let's say so. Awesome. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.